This episode is proudly brought to you by Youth Nations.
Well, I did hear that the podcast was about fatherhood, and I thought it would be good to get a children's perspective of how a father is. It's very important. He's like my best friend.
Really?
A lot of us are very lost, and I don't think, it's not something that we want to speak about, but it's the truth. And it's kind of like, now a lot of people that I know vape because they just saw somebody doing it and now they're addicted. It consumed me. I was just TikTok. It was very scary. These unrealistic expectations of how you should look on social media and everything. It's not real. Social media is not real. I want to do podcasts with athletes.
Okay.
Basketball players in particular.
Welcome to this episode of the Timers Playbook. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and listen to our podcast. We appreciate every little listen. At the end of the show, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And most importantly, remember to rate the content. The rating of the content helps with discovery, so we can reach more people. And if you want to get in touch with us, hit us up on our Instagram page at the Timers Playbook. You know, the beautiful thing about podcasting is that you can reach people all over the world. As small as our podcast is, I never imagined that we can reach people all over the world, right? So we got people listening as far as China, Zambia, Lesotho, Mexico, Mauritius, Namibia, Algeria, the Netherlands, France, Canada, Hong Kong, Cambodia, Belgium. You know, so really appreciate it. And we hope that the messages and the values that we impart on the podcast are universal enough that they can provide some sort of value as well on your side. So appreciate that. And thank you so much for listening. Please share the podcast as far and wide as possible. On today's show, I've brought my niece. She's 15 years old, Samu. Samu's been asking me for a minute now to be on the podcast. She wanted to share her thoughts about fatherhood, and how she reckons that as fathers or parents, we should parent her and her species. She's a very interesting case, a very lively person, loving person, smart, articulate at times, but can also be contrasting, right? But I suppose that's the human complex, that you can't be one thing or the other. And as I was reflecting on our conversation, we spoke about everything from obviously social media, boyfriends, girlfriends, school, relationships, vaping, parties, anything of that nature. And these are generally conversations that we will have regularly, whether I'm picking her up from school or we're just chilling, So we thought, let's bring that conversation onto the podcast, and hopefully for parents of teenagers, it could be of value, but also for us that have small kids, right, that are going into teenagehood very soon. It can provide some insight into their world and how they think. To be honest, I try to think about how I was when I was 15 years old. And I cannot remember anything about being 15. The overriding emotion that I can remember when I was that age was anger. And my niece doesn't have any of that, right? She's got different problems. These are good problems, right? Because you want your children to be growing up in those kind of environments where anger isn't the overriding emotion, where it isn't all just about survival. We can talk about social media, we can talk about iPhones, you can deal with school, normal things that young people, teenagers should be dealing with. I'm very glad that her overriding emotion in life generally isn't anger. It's anything other, actually. So it means her parents and the greater community is doing well. So big up to her parents. I think you're raising an amazing kid, and I know that she's going to go on to do amazing things. But also, I know that we have a lot of work to do, but we're here. Throughout the episode, you will hear some ruffling noises. Please excuse that. I think my niece was a bit nervous. So she held on to the microphone, moved it around a bit more than usual. So that is what that noise is. But otherwise, we had a great chat and here it is. And like I said, remember, do not forget at the end of the episode to like, share, and rate the content. So you wanted to be on the podcast?
Yes.
Why?
Well, I did hear that the podcast was about fatherhood, and I thought it would be good to get a children's perspective of how a father is. It's very important.
Okay. Tell me about your father, first of all. Just tell me about him.
My dad is a very funny and loving and outgoing person. He can be a bit strict, and sometimes I think he's a bit crazy, or he exaggerates certain things, like the smallest things.
Okay.
But overall, I think he's a pretty great guy.
Okay.
I think.
And how's your relationship with him?
It's very good. He's like my best friend.
Really?
Yes.
I thought that was your mom.
Nowadays it's him.
Okay.
Well, like, it changed. When I was younger, it was my mom. But as I became older, it became him.
Okay.
But my mom is still there. I hang out with both of them equally.
All right.
Yeah.
And what kind of things do you do when you hang out with your dad?
Go out for lunch. He takes me to school, picks me up from school. When he goes for a haircut, I go with him. Sometimes he lets me go to his meetings.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yes.
So why would you say he's the best friend then?
Because I feel like I can talk to him about anything. And we have real conversations. Like, I'm not scared to tell him anything, if that makes sense. And I enjoy his company the way I would enjoy my best friend's company.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. And what is some challenging things about the relationship?
Well, I guess it's when he has to parent. Because sometimes it's kind of like, what are you doing? Like, why do you have to do this and that? So I have to still remember.
Wait, you're moving that thing a lot.
No,
I can hear
not.
it. I can hear it.
Oh, no. Put it like that. Is that fine?
Wherever you hold it, don't, if it touches against your clothes, see, as soon as I do this, you can feel it, or this, or that. Okay. Yeah, you're saying challenging things?
Yeah, it's when he has to parent, because it's kind of like, why? Like, why do you have to all of a sudden be so strict? Or why do I have to do this and that? And yeah. It's just kind of like, I don't like being told what to do. So, yeah.
Who's then supposed to tell you what to do?
Well, that's the thing. I guess I have to, like, accept it, because sometimes
You're a child.
Yes, and I forget.
Yes, you're a child.
Yes.
Okay. And what are some of the other things then?
Well, I do fight with him, but it's about small things that just end up being big. Because I don't understand something or I don't agree with it, but then I'm a child, so I kind of don't have a say, and he supposedly knows better, even though a lot of the time I don't think that. But yeah.
Yeah. You know, fathers do know better.
No, not all the time.
Really? What do you know better than us?
Well, I know how I think you should raise me, because I'm the child that he would be raising.
Okay.
And how do I put this? It's kind of like, it's also his first time being a parent. So we have to compromise and meet each other halfway, so we both understand how things should be done.
How do you think you should be raised?
Well, I don't really have an exact say, because I think I'm being raised pretty great. Because, like, I feel like the way I'm being raised now is the way every child should be raised, where they feel safe to speak to their parents about anything, and where they listen, I guess, and take whatever lessons they learn from their parents with them.
Okay.
And I think that happens with me.
So is being listened to like the one of the most important things at the moment, like
Yes.
where your life is right now?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Because I have a lot to say, or I have a lot of opinions about things, especially now that I'm older and I'm getting exposed to a lot. So maybe there's some things I do understand, and then I want to be listened to when I say something about it, or I don't understand, and then when I want to understand, so I ask. And then I create an opinion based off of what I've learned. And yeah.
Okay. And then in your world, what's going on in your world? What is important to you guys at the moment?
I don't even know, because everybody's different. Everybody's going through their own things and their own path. For me, I feel like we need a lot of attention and we need a lot of guidance, even though it doesn't seem like that. We try to push it away, whatever. Because a lot of us are very lost, and I don't think, like, it's not something that we want to speak about, but it's the truth. And what is it? Peer pressure is a very big thing as well. And so, I don't know, we're influenced by a lot of things that I feel you guys were not influenced by. So it makes things 10 times harder for us.
So is this social media?
Yeah. Not just social.
Okay, give me examples.
Okay, social media is a big one, as we all know.
Yeah.
And then I guess it's also the other people that you meet wherever, because everybody was raised differently. Everybody goes through their own things. So, I don't know, you kind of get influenced by that as well, by what they have to say.
Okay.
They might change your mind or perspective on how you see something. And then you go back to your house and you say this and they're all like, what? Where did you get this from? And everything.
I've been there.
I think everybody has.
Yeah.
Or they still are. You know,
So tell me, give me a practical example when you say peer pressure.
Okay, right now, a big one, vaping.
Okay.
So, when did it start actually? I think last year, the year before that, somebody just started doing it. Everybody then started doing it. And then it was a thing of, if you don't do it, you're not cool. Oh, it's such a great thing and whatnot. And it's kind of like, now a lot of people that I know vape because they just saw somebody doing it. And now they're addicted. And it's kind of like, oh.
Okay.
Vaping is worse than smoking. That's the thing, because you also don't know what's inside a vape. You're smoking. It's like smoking a USB, basically. Like that's what I think.
Okay.
And it's just weird.
So when do they do it then? I mean, you're 15. So when does this happen? Like at parties or at school?
It can happen anyway, because the thing is, like, the garages also sell vapes to kids. They don't even ask for ID or anything.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, it's easily accessible. So if you have it, you have it. And then that's that.
But when do you vape?
At your house, at school, wherever. Especially like if you're an addict, it's kind of like you can't live without it. So
you're saying there's kids there's addicts?
Yes, there's kids who carry vapes everywhere. They can't not have a vape.
Really? I don't have an experience in vaping. So how do you know if someone vapes? Like, because then obviously there's no odor to it. It's not like smoking, right?
No. But
so are you saying that it's easier to hide, like at school, everywhere, because obviously there's no smell?
Some kids. Oh no, there is a smell, right?
Oh, there is?
But it's a nice smell. It smells like a flavor.
Okay.
So
fragrant.
Fragrant, right? So what kids do, they put it in the sleeve of their hoodies, and then they just smoke it and then put it back. And it's kind of like you can control how much smoke comes out.
Okay.
So sometimes you can inhale it and then a little bit comes out or all of it can come out. But it's not like smoking where it'll stay and a permanent smell or whatnot. So
wow.
It's very easy to get away with having a vape.
Are you a vapor?
No.
Really?
I'm not.
It's okay. Your parents don't listen. You sure?
I don't vape. I think it's disgusting.
Okay, so vaping. Oh, wow. You see? We're learning. This is why you're here. So fathers know what's up. Okay, so vaping, so it's easier to hide, it's easier to conceal. And, well, I think legally, you have to be 18, like you're saying, right?
Yes.
But it's easy to buy. Like the garage won't give you a hard time to buy the stuff, so it's easy to access for kids.
Yeah.
Okay, what else?
I guess then we go to the social media and your appearance on social media. I don't know. I feel like people have this unrealistic thing of how either a girl or a guy should look, how they should act, what they should be posting. Like I told you about the having a main, then having a spam.
No, please explain.
And a
that.
spam.
Okay, explain all of that. So assuming that fathers don't know, like I didn't know, explain to me how you, number one, set up your accounts. How does it work and why do you guys do it like that?
So your main rights should be for everyone, right?
So it's like a normal account.
Yeah, it's a normal account.
Yeah.
Where you post yourself, but when you look your best, only your best, not your worst, only your best. Then you post like fancy places that you go to for the aesthetic and all of that. So that's your main, right? You can't post any nonsense on your main or else people judge or they're like, like it's not for this platform. And that's when the spam comes in. A spam is for your friends. So in other words, it would be a Finsta, where there you can post whatever you want because that's the platform.
A Finsta?
Yeah, Finsta. A Finsta and a spam are the same thing.
Okay.
Yes.
So Finsta spam is your secondary account.
Yes, that's the secondary account.
That you only give to you give the handle or whatever it is to a specific number of people.
Yeah, but mostly people that you know. It's usually people that you know.
Okay, so it's your friend circle, so like not your parents. So it's like your close people?
Your parents can be.
They can be, but they generally aren't.
No.
Okay. And the purpose of that one is?
To like post whatever you want, basically. That's where you can be goofy.
Okay.
You know, you're not allowed to judge a spam because it's a spam, right? You can do whatever you want on the spam.
Okay.
And then the third account, not everybody has a third account, but it would usually be if like your spam got out of control. So now there's people you don't know that are on your spam.
That somehow got on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now the third account, my third account just has my friends. Like I can name every single person on there. And to be honest, I don't really post there.
So let me understand this, in my wisdom. It's like a WhatsApp group. You guys don't use WhatsApp. You chat via social media.
Yeah.
Well, WhatsApp is social media, but you chat like via what? Instagram?
Yes.
These are Instagram accounts mostly.
Yes.
Facebook, no.
No.
Twitter, X?
Some kids are on Twitter. I'm not.
TikTok?
Everybody. You can talk on TikTok as well.
Okay, so you can set up these accounts on TikTok also. Similar thing.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll say, for example, I've got a group chat with guys that I went to high school with. So is it like that? These are essentially group chats for very specific things.
Yeah.
Or for friends.
Yeah, they're just group chats with followers. And yeah, basically, I think Instagram is way more beneficial though. Because, like for instance, a status on WhatsApp, right? Once you post, it goes.
Yeah.
But on Instagram, you can make it a highlight and then
Sure.
it'll stay there forever. Or you can post or whatnot. And you can still create groups. Like, you can do everything on Instagram. So it's a lot more beneficial than any other talking platform, social media platform.
Okay. And why do you think there's a need for it?
I don't think that there's a need for Instagram. I didn't have Instagram for the longest time. I only downloaded Instagram last year, I think.
Okay. Did you have social media before that?
TikTok.
Okay.
And I got addicted to TikTok in 2020. And then obviously my dad took it away. And then...
How did he take it away? Did he take the phone?
No. So on iPhones, there's this thing where if I'm a minor, right, he can see everything that I do on my phone and he can take away, like he can block apps basically.
Okay. From his phone?
Yeah, from his phone.
Okay.
So he did that. I had my iPad and then I didn't have TikTok for like 2 months, 3 months. And then when I got it back, I think I still was addicted, but it wasn't as bad. Like I could control it now. And then when I got Instagram, I didn't use TikTok as much. And now I use Instagram way more than I use TikTok. Like TikTok is just there for me now.
So when you say you got addicted, what do you mean? What does that look like?
I was always watching TikTok. I couldn't not be watching TikTok. Like it consumed me. I was just TikTok. It was very scary.
Yeah. How did that impact you, do you think?
It didn't.
You don't think it impacted you being on a social media platform, seeing things over and over again and practically not being in control of what you're looking at?
No, I don't think it impacted me because I'm fine.
You
I
think
was
you're fine
then and I'm fine now.
You reckon?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
It was just a matter of like, where is all my time going? Instead of focusing on school, especially because we were like doing online and stuff. Like an example is, I could be in a school lesson on Teams and then I was watching TikTok the whole time. And I wasn't listening.
Okay.
That happened a lot.
So you don't think that's an impact?
Okay, maybe it was a little bit. It made me fall behind on my schoolwork.
Yeah.
But then I picked up again because my dad, he was like, if you keep on doing this, then this and this will happen. So then I picked up and then it was an on and off thing. Like there'd be balance and then there was no balance.
Yeah.
And then I think after he took it away, when I got it back, I was definitely more organized with how I used the app and my schoolwork and everything.
Okay. Social media. What are some of the things that parents need to be aware of? Is there a lot of bullying that happens there?
Yes.
Are there things that shouldn't be on?
Well, I feel like yes, there can be a lot of bullying. But it's also like, it's not just random people bullying you. It can be your friends or whatever. They can attack you for something you post, or they can post something about you. And I feel like social media makes people very insecure.
Okay.
Because once again, there's these unrealistic expectations of how you should look on social media and everything. And for some people, it's kind of like they believe in that stuff, which is quite stupid because it's not real. Social media is not real. So I don't know why people are so, I would say, strict with the way they believe social media should be and everything.
So is this, when you say these unrealistic expectations, is it from your friends that are posting or from other people, such as celebrities or influencers?
I would say influencers, celebrities, because let me give an example. Let's say there's this girl, she has the perfect face structure, no acne, she has nice lips, everything, and then everybody will be like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful, she's so this, she's so that. And then me looking at her, I'd be like, wow, I wish I looked like that all the time. But the reality of it is that she does not look like that all the time. There's also filters that exist and everything. It's kind of like social media is just a glimpse. And people think that that's how people are, like, just all the time. And it's not true. So in that aspect, you can become a bit insecure because sometimes you forget that it's not real. And then you want to be.
Well, how would you know that it's not real also, right? Because it's not like they're saying this is not real.
What if you've seen them in person and then you see them in social media?
True.
That's what you call a catfish.
Yeah. But how often do we see?
A lot. You
see all your influencers, all the people you follow in person?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Because also I follow a lot of South African influencers. I'm not really big on the Americans and whatnot.
Yeah.
So for me, I've met them or I've seen them in person. Because also we all go to the same events and stuff. So Saints Fest, for instance, that's where you'll see everybody. Yeah. Everybody wants to be there.
I think you're fortunate because you happen to live around here. You live in Joburg, you live in Sandton, you go to these schools. Let's assume that we're out of this bubble, right? Because it's the same for me. I've been in entertainment for so long that I take for granted that you meet and you know people that are in the limelight.
Yeah.
But let's assume then you're not in Johannesburg. You don't live in Sandton. You don't go to a private school. Let's assume it's other kids in other parts of the country. How would they know that it's not real?
That's a good question. Well, in that case, I don't think they would know.
And it's not even the country. The country's big, right? It could be some kids from Benoni, not far. Like we just happened not to go to the Saints Fest.
Yeah. But even then, it still affects them because they want to be like these people that they're seeing, and then they just aren't or they can't. And then they're confused as to why they can't be that way and everybody else is finding it so easy.
Yeah.
But then if they knew that it wasn't real, they wouldn't worry so much. But even me, I know that it's not real yet. For some reason, it still affects me.
Well, we've just spoken about this.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Okay. And is the pressure for you guys to be in relationships?
Yes. Yes, there is. It's actually kind of sad.
Okay.
This is what I think my generation is very messed up. Because it's just very weird. With the relationships, I don't know. I'm only 15.
Well, 14.
Yeah, 15. My birthday's on Friday.
Yeah.
Well, since I was like, let's say in grade 7, I just always felt like I needed to be with a guy or to just, to be with a guy.
Why do you think?
Because everybody had a boyfriend. Everybody made it such a like...
Or did they claim to have a boyfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Regardless.
No, I'm asking.
Regardless of it,
yeah,
you just wanted to be with someone.
Really?
Yeah. And then in grade 8, it was a thing of who can get the most guys, who can kiss the most guys, who can do this, who can do that, who can pull who, and everything. So grade 8 was a big year for me because I entered high school. I'm finally with the other older kids, and I think I started my high school year off with a bang.
How so?
Because I got out of my grade 7 relationship, and then there's this thing called talking stages.
Okay.
Which is if you don't know the person that you're with and you meet them, right? Then you talk for a certain period. It can be 2 weeks, it could be a month, it could be however long, right? And then you start dating. I, unfortunately, never got into a relationship last year. I just got into multiple talking stages that failed because of whatever reason. Because I think it was also, now I was starting to realize what my boundaries are, what my values are, what I want in a guy, what I don't want in a guy. So, yeah. But the reason why I continued getting into talking stage was because it was this thing of you have to be with somebody still. Like, if you don't have a boyfriend or a girlfriend, then there's something wrong.
Yeah. And does this impact school?
Yes.
I mean, you're starting a new school, you're becoming older, you're learning yourself. Like, how much of that is spent as opposed to focusing on things such as school?
This is the thing, right? Because I think people underestimate how much it consumes you, right? Because now, let's say you're in class, but you're focusing on this guy that didn't text you back, or you remember that you need to text him back, or there's something that you didn't say, or whatever. So I think it really does affect you in school, which is why you shouldn't be in relationships in school, I've now learned.
Okay, is that your take?
Yeah, it doesn't mean that I won't do it still,
yeah,
but I understand why, like, parents would say that and everything. Because relationships, they're a very big deal. Like, how do I put it? A relationship is like a friendship, for instance. The amount of effort, attention you need to put into it is a lot. So now imagine you're focusing on this one person and not focusing on yourself because you're so consumed in what's happening with the person that you're supposed to be with or whatever. And then you start to fail or whatever. So for people who understand balance, it's okay. Because you know that, okay, it's time to focus on school, it's time to do this for yourself, and then it's okay, you can now talk to this guy or whatever. But I don't think that I've mastered that yet. So it's kind of a thing of, if I'm focused on one thing, I cannot be focused on something else.
Okay.
So if I'm being honest, I think that's also kind of why I didn't do as great in school last year as I wanted to. because I was not focused on school. I thought that my social life was more important than that. And then this year, it was kind of like, I want to say my comeback season.
Comeback season.
Yeah, because now I've learned from it. But then I think I also got a little bit hurt by what happened. So now I was also trying to process and understand everything. Because once again, I'm young. So there was a few things that confused me. I didn't know why I was feeling this way. I didn't know if I should be feeling this way, if it's right, if it's wrong, and everything. So I guess this year was my healing. Yeah, I still am healing.
Okay.
Everything. Because it affected me a lot. And I kind of wish I did things differently last year. Because then I wouldn't be in the states that I think that I'm in right now. But it's okay. You live and you learn.
Ne?
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about school, do you think you're being set up to succeed in future with the kind of schooling you're getting?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about it. Like, what are you guys learning? And how do you think that's going to get you ready for the future?
See, the thing is, I don't think anything we're learning in school is going to help us in the future. Okay. So for English, maybe science, depending on what you want to be, right? But everything else, history, yes. I would think history is very important.
Why?
Because you learn about how you got to where you are now. Like how generations changed, what happened for us to be here now, and everything. So history is very important for me.
Okay.
Everything else, irrelevant.
Okay.
But
why do you say that though?
Because we're not going to use a lot of the things that we learned, that we're learning now when we're older. I mean, from what I've understood or been told, it's a whole thing of learning how to solve problems, how to get through certain things, but it's kind of like, I feel like it's kind of unnecessary still. Some of the subjects.
Okay, so you mean the specific subjects?
Yeah, let me give an example.
Okay.
Math.
Okay.
Right. Okay, you need to understand math to handle your money when you're older. But let's say algebra. We are never going to use algebra ever again. Geometry, it depends on what you want to be. If you want to be an architect, if you want to be an interior designer, then okay, geometry is very useful. But if you don't, then why are we still doing math? And then I was told that, okay, to help you problem solve, to beat around the bush, find a way to get things done.
Okay.
But I still kind of think it's unnecessary. And it's such an important subject that not everybody's good at. Like, I'm not good at math at all. I used to think that it was the effort that I was putting into the subject. But now I actually am putting in effort and I'm still not excelling.
What are you excelling in?
English. The thing is, with English, my marks dropped simply because I wasn't as focused on the subject. But I know that I'm very good at the subject and I understand what's going on. So if I put in the efforts, I would get great marks. I'm better on the language spectrum of like subjects and stuff. And science, I'm good at life science. Horrible at physics.
What's life science?
Biology, basically. I'm horrible at physics because numbers, all of that stuff, I don't understand it.
Okay.
And yeah.
So is it the subject that are the issue, or maybe the person? Maybe you're just not that way inclined towards maths and science.
I think it's the person.
Okay.
I know for my physics, right? Even though it's not something that I'm good at, if I understand how to do it, then I can excel in it. Because physics is just formulas. Just need to memorize formulas and then you're sorted. Math, it's me.
It's never been your thing.
It's never been my thing. Ever. Ever. Never, ever, ever.
Okay. Though, tell me then about the future. What do you think the future looks like?
I think the future is going to be very AI generated, especially now because it's becoming such a big thing. By the time that I am in university, it's going to be an even bigger thing. So,
How do you think it would look like? Do you have examples?
I just think that AI will be able to like take our jobs and stuff.
Which jobs are they taking from you?
Like teaching, for instance.
Okay.
Or okay, for now I think it's just teaching.
So explain.
Because already, right? So ChatGPT, right now that's a very big thing in schools. Some schools believe that it shouldn't be used. Others believe that it should, and everything. Because kids could cheat off of ChatGPT and whatnot. But I think it's very beneficial to us because sometimes you can learn more from ChatGPT than you learn from your teacher, right? Even I've asked some teachers, right? And they use ChatGPT for reference on how to teach something or whatnot. So overall, it helps. But by the time that I may be in university, maybe by then they'll create a robot that can do the teaching.
Oh, okay.
And then there was this other documentary that my dad made me watch about how there are trucks that are being driven by AI. Like there's no one in there. It's the robot system or whatever controlling the trucks. So already people are losing jobs on that side because AI is taking control. So I think it's a good and a bad thing because it's benefiting us, but it's also taking away from us.
You think it's taking away, or maybe we then just need to shift that energy and that skill set somewhere else?
I think we'd maybe have to shift.
Yeah. So what do you think you should be learning then in school, if that's the case?
I think that I think we should be learning how to understand AI better and how to work around having AI with us, because we don't learn that actually. Like in IT, we learn how to use a computer, which I think we all already know how to do.
Okay.
And I mean, robotics just teaches you how to like make a machine. So I don't think that helps either. But to actually understand AI and to figure out a way to work with AI, I think that's what we should be learning.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where are we now in terms of what you want to be when you're done?
Well, I know what I want to do.
What do you want to do?
Oh, I want to do podcasts.
Okay.
And I also, I want to do podcasts with athletes.
Okay.
Basketball players in particular. That has not changed, right?
All right.
So...
But that's fairly new though.
Yes, it is new. But it's something that I actually think I would enjoy.
Okay.
And have fun doing. I know I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. Because before, I was thinking about it from the money spectrum. But now I realized that for me personally, in order for me to stay in something, I need to be enjoying it and having fun. And I like talking and I like sports. So
tell me why basketball specifically?
I'm more interested in it.
Okay.
I think that it's basketball players, well, actually all athletes, they're very interesting in the way that they got to where they are now. But I think it's just, I have more of an interest in basketball than any other sports.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Samu, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I've learned a little bit today. Time with us has been appreciated.
Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, that was my conversation, no Samu. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that it did provide some value to you, either as a father or of a teenager or as a father of a young child, and trying to figure out how you manage this thing when the time comes. And yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, but the critical thing, I need you to rate the content. That bit of the rating of the content really, really helps with content discovery on the different streaming services. Yeah, and if you want to get in touch with us, hit us up on Instagram. It is at the Timers Playbook. Until the next episode, sharp. This episode was proudly brought to you by Youth Nations.